Hi friends, welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in the month of April and about some major changes that are about to be happening. So I have some exciting news to share. I cannot fully share just yet. Early next week, I'll be able to tell you all of the details about what's happening, but just know that I am officially starting the process of embarking on a career in the world of publishing, which some of you know I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's very exciting. I've got details that I can share in just a few days, but this does mean there are going to be some things that are going to be changing. I'll give you more details on all of the things that are going to be changing in my full announcement video, but the main thing you need to know for today's video is that wrap-ups are going to be done in a different format. Instead of talking about all the books that I read and talking about ratings, I will now be talking about books in three categories: hits, surprises, and faves. We're gonna see how this goes. It's new. I've been doing it the old way for a really long time, but I'm excited to try something different, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. I am gonna keep some of my reading stats. I'm gonna be dropping my star rating stat. We're gonna do a little bit of reading stats for how April went, and then we're gonna talk about my hits, my surprises, and my new faves. Quick reminder that me and Izzy from Happy For Now are co-hosting a bookish retreat for a relaxing trip to Costa Rica in January 2026. You can find all of the details at the link down below, and there are currently 5 early bird spots left available if you want to come hang out with us. The trip will be confirmed when we get 5 more people signed up, and we're really excited about it. So if you want to come hang out with us next January, post holidays, you can find details down below, and there are payment plans if you're based in the US, so go check it out. In April, I read 27 books. It was a hectic month. There was a lot happening with my family. There was a lot happening on the job front. I had a lot going on, plus I read some really long books in the month, and so it was lower than it's been, but I'm kind of okay with that. This is for a total of 8,910 pages, which is an average page count of 297 a day, which is totally fine, lower than it's been, but also for reasons I am expecting my reading to drop from what it has been, which is also fine. This month, 14 of the books that I read were advanced reader copies, or books that I had for review. I had 3 rereads. 5 of them were graphic novels or manga. I didn't read any indie books this month, and 3 of them were translated from other languages into English. In terms of format, it was an audiobook heavy month. Maybe not a shocker, especially like given the month that I've had. I listened to 20 audiobooks. I also read 3 ebooks and 4 physical books. Taking a closer look at those audiobooks, 8 of them are what I call shelf, which means I had a physical copy on my TBR and got it off via audio. And in terms of where they were coming from, 3 of them were from Audible, 1 of them was from Everand, 4 of them were from my library, 3 of them were from Libra FM, including some audio influencer copies. Y'all know my spiel. I love Libra FM. They support local indie bookstores. I subscribe to them, and also every month they give me access to a few titles for free in exchange for mentioning them. There's a link down below if you want to go check them out. They're great. 9 of them were audio review copies from NetGalley, so pretty heavy on that. In terms of age demographics, I read a lot of adult books this month. 24 of the books that I read were targeted at an adult audience, and 3 of them were YA. This is unusually adult heavy. I'm not sure why that is. No middle grade this month. Looking at publication date, the earliest published book that I read was from 2000. I read 8 books published prior to 2024. This is my backlist. 2 2024 releases and 17 2025 releases. I am trying to get to books I have for review, especially because things are about to really change for me, so this isn't super surprising. As always, I care a lot about reading from diverse authors, and so every month my goal is to read around 50% from Black, Indigenous, and person of color authors, and at least 25% from LGBTQ plus authors. This month we knocked it out of the park. 51.9% of the books that I read were by Black, Indigenous, or person of color authors, and 37% were by openly queer authors, so love to see that. In terms of genre, it was a very romance-heavy month. I read 12 romances, including 9 contemporary romances, 2 historical romances, and 1 speculative romance. I also read 4 fantasy books, 4 horror, 2 memoirs, 1 contemporary fiction, 1 literary fiction, 1 mystery, 1 sci-fi, and 1 thriller. In terms of my yearly reading challenge, not a ton of progress. I've read 3 out of the 6 books on my classics TBR, 4 out of the 5 books on my nonfiction TBR and 5 out of the 11 books on my sci-fi fantasy TBR. So we'll see how that goes for the rest of the year. Will I reach all of them? Who can say, but we'll see how it goes. Lastly, for Read What You Own, am I doing well? It could be worse. It could be worse. As always, audio is definitely the worst. My audio TBR as of the end of April is 239 books, which is up 8 from the beginning of the year. My Kindle TBR is 63, which is down 1. And my physical TBR is 436 books, which is down 17 from the beginning of the year, but up 2 from last month. So could be worse, not so bad, but you know, we're doing okay. With that said, let's go ahead and talk about the books that I read in the month of April. I'm going to start with my hits. Some of these books I talked about at greater length in my mid-month wrap-up. I will link that video up above if you want to go and check it out. Will I still be doing mid-month wrap-ups? We'll have to see. A lot is going to depend on my schedule. A lot's going to depend on how many books I end up being able to read. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Hits that I talked about in that video are Who Da F Wants to Know by Huda Fahmy, The Last Session by Julia Bartz, The Blanks by Grady Hendrix, and Summer in the City by Alex Astor. If you want to hear my thoughts on any of those, go check out that video. I do also have a standalone review video for Summer in the City, which I can link up above if you want to go and check that out. There are 5 other books I read that are making my hits list, which is great. First up is The Potency of Ungovernable Impulses by Malka Older. This is coming out in May. It's the 3rd installment in the Masa and Pleiades series. I love these books so much. This one is longer than the others. It's a short novel, I would say. It's almost 300 pages, still under it, but it definitely is longer, but it's a good one. These are sci-fi mysteries with a sapphic couple who's got kind of a Holmes and Watson vibe, and it's set on a colony on Jupiter. So in this 3rd one, it's interesting because Pleiades, who's kind of the Watson type character, she's an academic, is taking the lead. And what's interesting about this one is it's dealing with mental health issues in a relationship because Masa is having a depressive episode. So it's talking about that dynamic, but then also we have this mystery where Pleiades has been asked to go to a different university to investigate threats to a former classmate of hers, and things get very complicated. I loved the mystery. I also loved how we got to see more of the world. We're seeing what it's like in a different university, which is pretty interesting. And I also love the way that this tackled mental health. I loved it. Definitely recommend. So unfortunately, there seems to be a festival starting right outside my window. So there's really loud music. I don't know. Are we gonna be able to finish this video? Ugh, we'll see. I'm like, come on, it's only 10:30 in the morning. Why are they doing this to me? Ah! Well, the good news is that apparently audio editing tools work really well because you can't really hear the music. I promise you, it was so loud. I'm gonna attempt to finish my hits list and then see if I can edit out some of the background sound. We'll see how this goes, but I may have to finish this video later, which is so unfortunate. Another hit was Up in Smoke by Nick Brooks. I did have this for review. I had the last book for review as well on NetGalley. Oh, thank God, they're turning it down. Maybe they're just testing the speakers. Okay, maybe we can get through this. We'll see how this goes. So Up in Smoke by Nick Brooks is a YA mystery centering Black teenagers in the Washington, D.C. area, and it's really good. It's definitely one of those things where reading it as a parent, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're gonna be in so much danger, but also like, this is how it goes. They're doing these things to figure out what the mystery is. I think what's interesting about this is it's tackling with a lot of nuance issues of class and race and politics and like access to opportunity, corruption in the criminal justice system. It follows 2 perspectives, a teen boy and his longtime crush, who is the younger sister of a guy he's friends with. And the older brother of the girl gets him to go with his crew to try and steal stuff during a riot. Somebody ends up getting killed and his friend is arrested for the murder, but he and the sister are pretty sure he's being framed. So they're trying to investigate who actually committed the murder, what was really going on. It's really good. It's very fast-paced, fantastic YA author, and I love what Nick Brooks is doing for YA mystery by Black authors because we don't have a lot of them. So definitely go check him out and And thank you so much to Fierce Reads for sending me a finished copy of the book. Another hit was Anywhere You Go by Bridget Morrissey. This I had for review from NetGalley, and it's so cute, y'all. I gotta tell you, I love The Holiday. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I love this thing of the house swap and the like friends to lovers dynamic on one side and this like messy thing. It's just great. It's great. The ending could use a little work, you know, some tweaking. So if you love The Holiday and you want The Holiday but make it queer, happening during the summer and fixing the problems with the ending, you need to read this book. It's so great. It's like a lesbian house swap. Well, they're not all lesbian. One of them is bisexual. There's a lesbian and bisexual. There's a non-binary character involved, and we're swapping between a small town on the outskirts of Chicago and an apartment in New York City. There is romance, there's heart. It's so good and so fun and so cute. Highly recommend this one. I loved it. Another hit was my reread of Catwoman Soul Stealer by Sarah J. Maas. I really enjoyed this. I don't feel like as many people have read this. It's one of her less known books. It's the only one she's written that's not part of a series that came out several years ago. We are going to be doing a live show for this. Everybody has been so busy. We've had some trouble scheduling it. So if you're following along with the read along, stay tuned, we're working on that. But yeah, I really liked this. It's a young Selena Kyle, and I had forgotten some of the specifics about the way that she has this set up, and it's pretty interesting. We have two perspectives. One of them is Selena's, but we also got a perspective from Batwing, who is a black man, and I had forgotten because this came out in like 2018, so pre-2020 and all of this, but it gets a little bit into some of the racism that he faces, profiling by police, even as a member of a really wealthy black family. And I think that's kind of interesting that she's tackling that. The other fun thing is we have Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. Poison Ivy is a lesbian who wants to save the planet, and she's got a thing for Harley Quinn. So we've got queer characters in here. I think it's really interesting. It's a really fun story. The one quibble I do have with this, I've got mixed feelings about the ending. I won't spoil it for you. I think I talk about this a little bit in my Goodreads review, but there is a choice she makes with the ending that I'm like, I don't know that I fully love it. Like I get it, but I think, does it hold up? I don't know. But overall, a really fun time, and I quite enjoyed it. It was a hit for me. My final hit this month was Kiss Me Maybe by Gabriela Gamez. This I had as an audio review copy from NetGalley, and it's another really cute contemporary romance, and this one has Ace Rep in it. So if you're looking for romance with Ace Rep, this might be a good one for you. I will say it's still a bit steamy. It's got an Ace character who is not sex averse and is kind of figuring out what her sexuality on that spectrum is. It's a sapphic romance. She's a lesbian and she's 27 and has never been kissed. She's been crushing on this bartender who's been hurt in the past and doesn't really do long-term relationships, of course, because like I feel like this is like commonly a trope. And she decides to set up this scavenger hunt through TikTok to get somebody to like sort of complete trials to give her her first kiss. But in planning it with the bartender, sparks fly between the two of them. I really liked this a lot. I think it's very cute, it's fun, and I love seeing the Ace Rep in it. I think it's great. So those are all of my hits. Next, let's talk about my surprises. Two of these surprises I talked about in my mid-month wrap-up, and I also talked about both of them in another video that I'll mention. Those books are Kitchen Confidential, Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly by Anthony Bourdain, and Plunge, Volume 1 by Joe Hill. Both of these I read for a really fun video that I'm hoping to continue the series of, where authors recommend books that they think I'll like to me. And the iconic Chuck Tingle agreed to do this. He sent in a video recommending these books that ended up being surprises. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It was so much fun and he's wonderful. And I am hoping to do more of those videos in the future. Another book I would say is a surprise is one that I read for my in-person romance book club. This is I Got Abducted by Aliens and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com by Kimberly Lemming. So I love the Mead Mishap series by Kimberly Lemming. They're these like tongue-in-cheek fantasy rom-coms. This one is sort of campy sci-fi with like pink dinosaurs and a polyamorous relationship, and it's really fun and funny and over the top. Why I would say it's a surprise is I had heard mixed things about it. I wasn't totally sure what to expect going in. I will say if I read this purely as a romance, right? Like where I'm like, am I loving the characters getting together, being together at the end? Am I rooting for that? Is that like the central thing that this is doing for me? I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like there's a little bit of emotional development between them, but mostly it's like a lot of sex. However, if I read this as a campy satire of sci-fi romance and late stage capitalism, it's fantastic. It made me laugh. It was great. The heroine is a biologist who is on a field assignment about to be killed by a lion when she is abducted by aliens and put on a planet where they have gotten her to try to have her mate with these aliens who are going extinct. Except, oops, they made a mistake, and the intern of the aliens that kidnapped her realized, oh, they're sentient species. Whoops. Ah. So it's just like a very rompy, fun, and funny, and I quite enjoyed it. So it was a bit of a surprise, but I really liked it. So I would recommend it if you like that kind of a vibe. And it is kind of steamy as well, but I feel like if you're going into this for like the romance of it all, it's more of a mixed bag, but it's a really good time. Another surprise was Red Rabbit by Alex Grecian. I wasn't quite sure what to expect for this. It's like rompy folk horror set in the American West during sort of the Wild West era. And you never really know what you're gonna get, right? Like this is a time period that was rife with misogyny and racism, and how is that going to be handled? Well, it's not perfect. I think this book is actually a pretty good example of how you can show that racism and misogyny exist while also subverting it through some of your story choices and like who the characters who show those traits are. I think this does like a reasonably good job of that. And it was fun. It was a wild ride. It is definitely horror. So if you don't like bloody, gory, body horror, possession type stuff, it may not be for you. It follows an unlikely band of people who are going to hunt down a witch for a bounty and all of the obstacles that get in their way along the way, and ask questions about who are the real villains. It was a really good time. We read this for Blades and Bodice Rippers book club, so we're going to be discussing this on Amanda's channel. And yeah, that was definitely a surprise. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I liked it. My next surprise is another one that I was like, I am tentatively interested in this, and I ended up really enjoying it. This is Road to Ruin by Hannah Lee. I was sent this for review from Saga Press, so thank you to them. This was a lot of fun. It's like a dystopian futuristic fantasy world with sapphic characters, polyamory, and a Mad Max Fury Road kind of vibe. It's very twisty. I'm curious to see where book 2 goes, and the magic system's kind of interesting. So the main character is a courier who rides a mage bike. It requires magic to power it, and so only people who can use magic can use them. But she rides the mage bike through the dangerous wastelands from city to city, moving messages from place to place. And for years she'd been carrying secret love letters between a princess in one city and a nobleman in another city. And this time when she delivers a letter to the princess says, oh, I'm getting forced into an arranged marriage tomorrow. I don't want it. Please help me escape. And so she does, so they escape. Shenanigans happen. But also, all three of them sort of have had feelings for each other, and it explores that. So not a romance, but it does have a romantic subplot. It was fun, it was fast-paced, it was interesting, and yeah, something a little bit different. So I liked that quite a lot. That was definitely a surprise. My final surprise this month was Love in Focus by Lila Lee. So I read Lila Lee's YA debut, which was fantastic. I really liked it. It had a plus-size heroine, it had romance, it had like body positivity and all this. I loved it. Love in Focus is her first adult romance. It is a sapphic second chance romance between college exes who are now nearing 30, and it was really good. I thought it would be fun, but I wasn't expecting it to be, number one, quite so steamy, which it definitely is quite steamy, which does very well, but also I wasn't expecting it to be characters who are close to 30, because I feel like a lot of times when you see YA authors switch to adult, they're writing characters who are like college age. And so this was a really pleasant surprise. I like her YA stuff as well, but this is definitely adult romance. I really liked it. I liked the characters. It was a lot of fun. So it follows a woman who is a columnist at a magazine, and her fiance and longtime boyfriend has just broken up with her. So she's dealing with the grief of that. And then she finds out that she's on a project writing an article about long-term couples in love, and the photographer they've hired is her college ex. And so sparks kind of fly between them, but they have very different perspectives on why they broke up and what happened. The ex now doesn't do long-term relationships and has some stuff to work through. They both have some stuff to work through. I loved the way this resolved the conflict with having adequate time before they get back together at the end. Yeah, this was really good. Definitely a pleasant surprise. Loved it. Lastly, we're going to talk about my faves. This month I had 3 that are going on my faves list, 2 of which are favorites of the year and 1 that may end up on that list. It's definitely like on the edge, but I loved all of them. One of these books I talked about in my mid-month wrap-up, and it is the one that's like right on the line. It was definitely a favorite of the month. Is it going to make favorites of the year? I don't know yet, but it's really good, and that is Plus Size Player by Danielle Allen, which is coming out really soon. Her romances are so good, y'all. Like so good. Definitely recommend her if you haven't checked her out, but I talk more about that in my mid-month wrap-up. And then I have 2 books that are making my favorites of the year list. One is Hard to Get by Laura Mower. She writes these really great, heartfelt, emotional romances with great plus-size representation, and I loved this. This is not going to be for everyone, but if you've been around a long time, you know that I adore a prickly heroine and a cinnamon roll hero, and this absolutely gives us that. It gives us fully fleshed out characters where the hero and the heroine both are full people and you see their relationship come together. They both have growth arcs they need to go through. It's so great. This is a hookup to friends to lovers romance, which is interesting. And we have a hero who is this like really sweet cinnamon roll high school teacher who does need to learn to have better boundaries and stand up for himself and what he wants. So it's kind of like his growth arc through the course of the book. And we have a heroine who is super prickly, usually very buttoned up. She works with an organization supporting victims of domestic violence and usually doesn't trust men. But every once in a while she lets her hair down and lets out this alternate persona where she is the sexy singer performing, which is where the 2 of them meet initially, have a one-night stand, meet in another context, become friends, and eventually lovers. The thing about this book is it's a bit of a slow burn, and it has a trope that I usually don't like, but I think it was handled really well in this context, which is the surprise pregnancy trope. I don't usually really like that very much in romances, but this I thought handled it really well. I loved it. I just really love the way that she writes romance. I think it's interesting, and it's not quite like what I've seen other people do, so definitely recommend that. My final favorite that was so good is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I am so pleased to tell you that this did in fact live up to the hype. When I first got a copy of this for review, I was like, this sounds so good, but I have been disappointed in the past. Is it gonna be everything I hoped for? It was not quite what I was expecting, but y'all, it's so good. This author has written mysteries before, but this is her first time writing fantasy. I had this from Orbit for review, and it is a fantasy mystery with so many twists and reveals. It's really good. It's got an interesting world, interesting magic system. It follows this woman who is dedicated to the ravens, who are scholarly, and she works as a scholar for the emperor, but his term is coming to a close, and there's about to be trials to find the new emperor, and each of these 8 sort of temples or groups will send one representative to compete in the trials for emperor. And so these trials are about to begin when the Raven contender is murdered. And so our heroine is put as a substitute in her place in the trials. So she's in these potentially deadly trials to potentially become the next ruler, and she's tasked with solving the murder mystery. But there's a lot of things that she uncovers along the way that were unexpected. So this is murder mystery, court politics and intrigue, deadly trials. It is so good, y'all. and really interesting magic because it's tied to the Eight. They're these sort of deities that are revered but also feared because they don't want them to come back in their full form, but they can send fragments of themselves to interact with the human world. It's really good. I absolutely loved it. It's the start of a series I will read on. Highly recommend. So there you go. Those are the books that I read and loved in the month of April. Hits, surprises, and faves. I think I kind of like this setup, to be honest. I'm not mad about it. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the new approach, and stay tuned because I will very soon be able to announce all of the details of what I'm going to be doing and what's changing. I'm so excited. It's been a long time coming, so anyway, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, or if you made it to this point in the video, leave some kind of a celebratory emoji because I am feeling very celebratory this week. It's been a great week. If you guys like this video, it always helps if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.